Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Like the Way You Drink. I know we've been on vacation for a couple weeks. Did I just lose you? Or did I lose my speakers?
No, it was me. I was on mute because I was coughing a minute ago. So it was a vacation, but I was still working and I was still researching. I was doing a lot of stuff. I was running all over the countryside. I had a half marathon trail run at starting at the Glenfiddich distillery. Actually, that's where everything started. We went to Tamdu. It was like a 15-20 minute bus ride to start the half marathon. There was another marathon that they took them a little bit further out. So when we got to the half marathon point, the marathoners were going through there. We were supposed to start at 11:30. We didn't start till 12:30 because one of the buses broke down. And so one of our buses that had brought us, which there was like 7 of us, had to go back to get the 8th bus or the people to bring them down. So being that took 40 minutes, and by the time all that, they figured out that bus wasn't, we started at 12:30, but I got my little.
Oh, wow. I know, I've got one of them from Alex that gave me one last year. I don't know where it is and I hope it didn't get broke along the way, but I had one because Alex, who was on the show last year, gave me one with his whiskey weight loss.
Okay, yeah. So I do have, they ended up giving me 4. I didn't bring them to the office actually, but Monkey Shoulder was one of them.
Okay.
They also gave us a Belvini, Glenfiddich. There was another one, Glen Franklin, I think it was. But it's so cool when you get there and you're picking up your packet. They welcomed you with a weed dram. Get your glass, and then they were giving you a 12-year-old Glenfiddich Scotch to try. So they were giving you a little bit. It was a wee dram, so it was just a little bit. So that was at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
It's Scotland, so it was a lot of fun.
Well, I when I do my networking events, all right, the bar opens at 11. And I just walk out and put my hand on the bar like this. And when I'm at walk-ons, she knows. As soon as she can, get me a Buffalo Trace in my hand. And I mean, I usually before the walk-ons opens, usually about 10:50, they usually have it in my hand. But I'm not supposed to say that. They're not supposed to stir before the oven. Anyway, details. Anyway, so tonight's episode, ladies and gentlemen, is we were going to do something else, kind of celebrate. It's actually this week 4 years ago that we did our very first episode. But I actually pulled one of those. What do we call that? An audible. I guess you are. I'm not a football person. An audible. I called Gladys today and I said, you know what? I got a better idea. What we have never done on this show is talked about our original meeting when we met and came up with this idea. We have never done it in 4 years of being on here. We didn't.
We talked about that. Craig brought us together. That because Craig does well. We met and we knew of each other, but we didn't really know each other until we connected over whiskey and moonshine.
Now we really know each other. Anyway, so what happens is we met that first day. We were in Craig's house, and he introduced us. And the next day we had, we're both part of the the elite, or what does he call it? His rock star program, and he has different names for it now. All right, when I was in it was called the elite program. Anyway, we were meeting for the elite group on one day, and then the next day we were meeting with the general mastermind, and it was here when Craig lived here in Texas. It wasn't that far from where I live right now, believe it or not. But we met the second day, and because we started talking alcohol that first day, the second day, what Gladys and I both did. Now, Gladys didn't live in Dallas. She was visiting Dallas, but I lived here. And I remember, and the one thing I didn't have, Gladys went and got a bunch of these. All right. Show the ones you have, right?
I actually brought them from Oregon to Texas. They were in my carry-on. Because I usually carry, but of course they're like, oh, you can't open up your own alcohol on the plane. And it's like, since when? I hadn't flown in a little bit. So it's like, whatever. So I just kept it there. So I had my little tasters, and they were all whiskey. I think I might have had one vodka, but it was pretty much all whiskey.
They're all whiskeys, yeah.
Yeah.
Now I brought that day, and I don't have it anymore because it was the last of what I had, and I just have not gone back to get more. Some people ask me about, like, that I have moonshines here, so I have Tim Smith's Climax, which I almost always am trying to have some here. I've always got some American Born White Lightning moonshine, right? But I had at the time, I brought it in the mason jar I had left. Do you remember it? It was Tennessee backwoods moonshine that some people made that I got from a bootlegger that I knew in Nashville.
Yep.
And from what I heard, I'm just saying that bottle was some of the TV show moonshiners. It was two of the guys on that show. It was from one of their batches.
Right.
So some of their stuff, right? But I mean, it was. I've gotten a lot over the years where I've gotten the backwoods Tennessee moonshine. And I remember the first time I ever tasted it. Gwen and I were on a road trip back. It would have been about 2010, 2011, and we were into a restaurant and they had commercial moonshine, and of course I got a tasting of it. And it was like, what I mean. It wasn't a great one, but most people were mixing it. The one they had that this restaurant had, it was one they used for a mixer. It wasn't like a good flavored moonshine like the ones I drink. But I mean, I was hooked. I wanted more of it. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that I wanted more of. And I love. There's the two whiskeys I like are raw moonshine and bourbon. So. And hardly any restaurants down here have the moonshine. It's regular. Right. They only have flavored moonshines. And the flavored moonshines are sugar. They're 90% sugar, like very little alcohol. Yeah.
I think I have apple pie over here. I do have the Climax up there. So I do have a regular one, and then I do have a flavored one. They're all hidden over here. So I did buy that. Now,
Buffalo Trace for Christmas last year, I didn't bring it down on this batch here, but in my cabinet, I have a white dog mash, which has now you can get, and it's very similar to the Climax in taste, very very similar. Well, because it is corn based and stuff. Because it's the mash they use that's basically before it's aged. So all right, and that white dog mash is just, to me, that's regular good moonshine. The only difference between 90% of the time between that and a good Buffalo Trace is Buffalo Trace is put into a barrel and aged. So, and there's a process. So, before we did the show, I was stuck on a very few amounts of what I had. I had American Born. I always had American Born on my shelves. Always had Climax. As a matter of fact, if you look at my original Facebook bartender life coach, I had a line of these jars that were empty. That's how much of it I drank. But the one that I almost always had on my shelves, and I still have it, but I don't drink it all that much, was Iron Wolf bourbon.
Right.
And I still have. Now they don't make them in small containers anymore. They up here. It's the Iron Hot, which is the cinnamon whiskey. Which I can look at it's got some cloudiness to it, which makes me wonder if it's about time to. Can you see that? Well, I guess you can't.
There's a reflection, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's got a cloud to it, which I haven't seen. I mean, and that bottle's got to be a couple years old because it's a large bottle. Again, they don't make it in small bottles.
You may have to put it in your barbecue.
That's what I do with it. That's half the reason I do with it is I use it for barbecue. I don't drink cinnamon whiskey all that much anymore by itself. Now, I mean, those are the four I had over there. I have. I mean, of course, I got into Angel's Envy. I had some, since we started the podcast, I've had some Heaven's Door, which is that Bob Dylan that he's invested in. We actually had one of our first couple episodes. We had a Basil Hayden
Yes.
which I never heard of Basil Hayden. Well, I have a Basil Hayden toast that's on my
Yeah.
shelf now. Right. I don't think I have any regular ones. About a year into the show, I went on a road trip with my wife, and we started going to smaller distilleries. We were in Dodge City, Kansas, and this is the last I have of this whiskey, straight wheat from Boot Hill Distillery. But I mean, that day that you and I met, the day we went to the country club, that country club actually was one of the first places I used to go to get what I love now is Buffalo Trace. You know, and Buffalo Trace since then, it's become very, very popular. So, hey, Robert, good to see you, man.
Hey, Robert.
So, but I'm sure you're going to go through some of the stuff you had. I mean, I was just going to kind of do tastes. I know I have some 2 small bottles. I have a corn, midnight moon, and I've got bottles of these that usually if I'm traveling,
those are the ones that I had.
Yeah, I'll take them with me when I'm traveling. Right.
What did I give that to? I was on travel and I had one of those in my bag. I gave that to somebody because I had one that I had opened and I had just taken a smidge of it. And so I kept that one, but I gave the new one to somebody on my trip and I can't even remember who, but I was sharing. I'm like, here you go. Yeah. Something different because they wouldn't be able to get it in Scotland. So it was just kind of fun. I have a few different things. I'm
going to do some pouring while you explain yours.
All right,
and I'll tell you after you explain yours which ones I am pouring and tasting. We'll talk about.
All right. So what I did is that I pulled the ones that had a little bit less, down to the bottom, and I went, okay. Tullamore Dew, I got because it's like going, I have a little bit left of that Irish whiskey, and I'm not a big Irish whiskey fan, but Teeling and Tullamore Dew are 2 that I do like. And then, of course, my Jefferson Reserve. This is a very old Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, small bag. This was a gift that was given to me by a Medicare broker. And so thank you, Jenny. And then the other one that I got, this was James Oliver Rye Whiskey. So I've had this one for a little bit, and I thought, well, I know I've used it for old fashions, and I hadn't. It was kind of in the back of here at the office, and I said, well, you know what? Let me pull that out. I don't know if I'll taste it or not, but it was there. Then, of course, I had to pull the Beverly High Rye. This one is the one that these guys down in California are making. I got the last little bit from one of my friends. They're friends with those guys. So I want to see next time I'm in California if I can get a tour of the distillery where they're making this batch. And then the other thing that I pulled, because I do have a cinnamon whiskey from Skunk Brothers, but the other thing that was also in the back was the Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Also from Southern California. We've had it on the, I think we've had all of these on the podcast. So these are some that I'm like, you know what, which are the ones that are kind of, towards the bottom. So those were the ones that I pulled out. Screwball, that would be like one of the last things that I would taste if I were to do that. I'm thinking Tullamore Dew. And I have my little tasters from my Oregon running series. Be active, have fun, give back. So I have 2 of these. I'm trying to collect more of these smaller ones because, as you can see, they're a little bit more on the size of tasters. But also, Life is Beautiful. Also, those smaller. I love these little guys. These are fun for little tastings, and so I pulled those out. And then, of course, my Monkey Shoulder. This one was one of the gifts that I got from the race. Blended malt Scotch whiskey, batch number 27, the original. So this one's also, you can get it here, but it's sometimes hard to get these little Monkey Shoulder, specific ones. So there are some that I can get here, but when I was seeing my Glenfiddich at like $30, and here I'm paying $90 for it, there was so much Scotch I wanted to bring back, so much. But I really couldn't. And I'm like, I got to go back to Scotland. I was traveling by myself. So I'm adventurous, but also very cautious. So I didn't taste as much as I wanted to taste because I wanted to make sure that I was looking out for myself, being cautious, being careful, because I didn't want to do anything silly or have anything happen just because I decided to drink a little bit more. So I opted to be very cautious, and I didn't taste all the things I wanted to taste. So there's a lot of scotch out there to be had. And then when it came to food, I just brought out just some of the things that I had at home, which was this little steak.
Mm-hmm.
I cut it up. That was my filet mignon. And then my neighbor had made this aioli for these crab cakes. So I put it there, and I added a little bit more to the crab salad or the seafood salad. I had some nuts also from my travel. This is a jalapeno blueberry, I think it is, pretty yummy. And then I had mozzarella because my crazy time of year started already on Saturday. I needed to bring in snacks. So I had the mozzarella, a little individual, some crackers, grapes, olives, and then I had a pear and an apple. So I have all these little snacks that I'm keeping around because if I get hangry and I'm at the office late, then I'm like, I'm not going to be productive. So I need to be able to eat and keep working. So that's why I came up with all these little things. My neighbor, he gave me this, and I was like going, okay, that way I can just pour it on top. Easy peasy. So I will start with the Tilmardew, and I did, I'm going to use my Life is Beautiful. And I have my little ice cubes. So I went with the smaller ice since I was doing the smaller.
I'm going to start with some of my, when I have ice cubes here, I'm going to add as we go. I'm going to start with one that has been my favorites. It's been over the years, is the Climax Moonshine. Tim Smith, made in Climax, Virginia. What's the name of it? Is his distillery called Climax? I think his distillery is called Climax Distillery. I forget the name of it. But anyway, Tim Smith is one of the people who was on Moonshiner as well. That's the first I'm going to have, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to start off doing mine neat, which means no ice. So.
Well, my steak, the aioli that's on it has a little bit of a kick, but not too much. But the Tilmardew tones it down.
Mm-hmm.
So it just brought out all these flavors. So that goes very nicely with the steak.
So the steak, yeah, you talk about the steak. The steak I'm doing tonight is something I found in the grocery store this week that I haven't done in a while. And I remember back in the old days when I was broke and I couldn't afford to eat steak, I got these. They're called cube steaks. Now, what cube steaks are mainly used for in the South is chicken fried steak.
I was going to ask if it was chicken fried steak. Okay.
I did not do chicken fried steak. What I did was I marinated, I flash fried both sides. Then I pulled it out of the pan and I marinated it in soy sauce for about 25 minutes.
Okay.
And then put it back into the pan and cooked it. Probably I pulled it out of the pan maybe 5 minutes before we went on the air tonight.
Okay.
I cooked it into an iron skillet. A little bit of red onions with it. But I seasoned it. Other than that, I seasoned it just like I would a regular steak with salt and pepper. All right. And very little butter in the pan. I didn't cook with a lot of butter. I cooked with a little bit of olive oil in the pan.
Okay.
And it's just one of those things that's like, yeah, I wanted to try it. I knew I had a refrigerator, and it's like, that's what I'm going to do tonight because it's a steak. And I remember when a steak, I couldn't afford a steak. Of course, I have other things to do in case you don't like the steak. Yes, I have things that you can add to it. A1 steak sauce, some Worcestershire sauce, all right, that you can actually just spice up your steak even after you've cooked it. So, but it is there's two ways I've had the hamburger steak that I've really liked, and I call them hamburger steak because they're basically cubed, is with a ketchup or with a good beef and mushroom gravy.
Oh, okay.
No. So I'm eating it just by itself, and it seems to be pretty good. Of course, you get a cube steak; it's a little well done, which goes with some of the spices and the bourbons and stuff, great whiskeys.
As you can tell on this one, see how pink it is.
Was that rice or potato underneath it?
It's a bread. It's a
bread.
sourdough bread. Sourdough bread. All I did was This was a choice filet mignon. I added salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and I had olive oil in there. And then, of course, I seared it on both sides. Then I added butter on top of it. And what I didn't have, and I wish I would have had this sprig of rosemary to throw it in there. And then I just spooned the olive oil and butter over the steak until it got cooked to where I wanted it. And then I let it rest. I also had already made sauteed onions with mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And then I added, that was olive oil and butter. And then I added red wine. I think it was a Merlot. And then cooked that down. And so then it was, I added that not on top of the steak, but kind of on the edge and then to the side. That way I could eat it as I was going. I didn't want it to continue cooking my steak, because you put something hot over a steak, it's going to insulate and then start continuing to cook. And I didn't want that.
Yeah.
And then I made a baked potato in my air fryer. And then I added butter and sour cream and chives. And then I also had a little salad, some greens, some cucumbers, some green onions, some tomatoes, some dill, and Thousand Island dressing. So that's what I had for dinner on, is that Friday? I think that was Friday. Or Saturday. No, that was Saturday. Because I went to the supermarket on Saturday at last. I went to the supermarket because I had nothing in my fridge.
So the second one I'm going to taste with my steak.
But this little steak, all I did was cut it off what was left, and then just put it over the sourdough because I thought that would be fine.
No, but is that butter on top or the sauce on top, and do you have butter on the bread?
And I love that it's still pink.
Did you have butter on the bread?
Very tender.
Okay. Do you have butter on the bread or no? No.
Tender.
You can't hear me? Uh-oh.
Let me check. My speakers are the same.
Huh. Uh-oh. Test. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, but it echoed back in my ear. Can you hear me?
Let me see if I can go back to the other one. Try again.
How about now?
Oh.
All right.
I need to go on my correct speaker, which is my actual speaker, not my computer speaker.
Okay. Did you have butter on the bread when you cooked it or no? Or just
no,
raw?
I actually on the bread, I just cut the bread and I just sliced up my meat. I did not reheat my meat.
Okay.
I just brought it to room temperature and had it just like that.
Cool.
And then I've been adding the cheddar cheese, the sharp cheddar cheese with my spicy jelly, and that tastes good. That tastes pretty good. All right, I'm gonna go to my Jefferson bird. I'm gonna put that one in my pretty glass.
So my second one that I'm bringing up here, and because it's going to give the spice in my steak, is I decided to pour the Iron Wolf cinnamon, sweet cinnamon pepper whiskey is what it's called. All right. When's the last time you had some cinnamon whiskey?
Oh, since the last time we put it on the podcast, it's been a while. It's sitting right down there.
Yeah. I've not had it in a while, and I'm just reminding now. Yeah.
Brothers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the brother. I'm forgetting exactly how sweet it is. It is very sweet. However, this one here, unlike most of your cinnamon whiskeys that are on the market, this one here is a real sugar one, which some of the ones like your Jim and your Jacks that do the cinnamon, it's a little bit lighter taste. You know what I mean? It's like the flavor is a bold cinnamon punch flavor on this one. And when you do that with the steak, oh my God, it really punches cinnamon into your steak.
This is 80 proof corn whiskey with natural flavors, 40% alcohol by volume. We had this on the podcast, but I don't remember what the sugar content in this was. I'm sure we talked about it when it was on the podcast, but they use real cinnamon sticks for it.
Mm-hmm. How about now?
I was going a little blurry. All right, I was going to try this. I love how tender that steak is. So the dramathon, I ran the half dram because it was only half marathon.
Oh,
Each dram was a 10K. I was not about to go to Scotland to run only a 10K. But I didn't think a full marathon, that would have taken me a while, especially trail.
ah. So as I doctor up my next piece of steak to eat here, I'm going to go into my last. I only made 3 pours tonight. And I'm kind of a person who, when you go to more than 3 tastes, it kind of now affects your taste buds, right? You know what I mean? Going into a 4th and 5th taste of the day can be a lot. And I have you ever gone to a winery where they give you a list of 12 things? All right. And then you go to the next winery and they give you 12 things.
It's like you're done.
No, what do? All right. You are so caught up in the moment, you buy everything because, oh yeah, this is so good.
And then the next day you go, not so much.
I know, but the problem with it is, you know what I mean, is always to make it taste good, always start with the best one you like best.
Right.
Because if you start with a bad, it trickles more. So my last is I was going to finish it off with good old fashioned Buffalo Trace. How about you? What are you going to do next?
I probably should have finished off with Jefferson because that's the best one in my opinion. But I think I'm going to leave it to the Beverly. That's going to be, but I think I've given the most respect to my Jefferson. And I thought I had another one of these guys. You know what? I think I took it home. But that's okay. It's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
This was a trio of that I got. Salami, another spicy one. I don't even remember what it was, but you know, it was a trio of 3. And I was like, oh, that sounds kind of fun. So I have more. It's gonna stay here at the office. I have all my little snacks that are for the office for this.
So then I'm going to go back through, but I'm going to drop an ice cube, swirl it once, and then I'm going to pull the ice cube back out because I have very little left in there. Last thing I want to do is I don't want to water it down too much. Oh, I like the ice cube in a moonshine. I've forgotten how much it affects it when you put a little ice to it on the moonshine.
Okay.
Been a while since I just sat and drank moonshine.
Reminiscing back to the times.
Yeah. But that just goes to show your stuff changes over time.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I mean, we've had quite a few wines on, but I want to say maybe a year, 2 years before we come up with this idea, my wife and I were heavy in wines.
Uh-huh.
We had a lot of wines in the house, and that was what we would drink on a regular basis with dinner. When Gwen comes home, we usually would make a martini, but then when we cooked dinner, we would have a wine to go with it. And the problem was it was just 2 of us, and we had an awful lot of open bottles of wine. There's only so much. Now, I didn't want to ever drink a whole bottle of wine every night. You know, I liked a good glass of wine. So anyway,
I remember
now I drink a lot of whiskeys now.
Right. I have so much wine, and the thing is, I'll buy the wine and then I don't use it. I don't open it because then I have some bottles of wine that I use for the cooking because they were from an event that I ended up inheriting, but I haven't touched them. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to drink them at this point. They're for cooking.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's now cooking wine.
I had a bottle open. I should have put in this steak. Come to think of it. Now that we say that, I had that bottle in that. I have this bottle sitting out that I should have dumped a little bit in the pan on the steak when I cooked it. Would have really made an interesting taste.
Well, I'm glad I doctored up that seafood salad. I need a little something, something. But I was hungry when I went to the store, so I was like, ooh, that looks good. Ooh, that looks good. Good thing, bad thing when you go to the store hungry, you get everything you need, but then sometimes you pick up those extra things and you're like, I guess I didn't really need that. It wasn't that great, but doctor it up. Whenever I buy pre-made anything, I will always doctor it up and make it my own because it's probably never going to taste as good as I want it.
Well, I don't mind buying like the rotisserie chickens. Pulling like I'll eat the wings off of it right away. Maybe I'll eat the legs, but for the most part, I will take the thighs, everything into it, peel it all off the bone, and then chop it up, and then do different things with it. Chicken salad, all right. You know what I mean? There's a ton of, but half the time
that's what I do.
Yeah, I mean, but like that's the thing is they just did the cooking for me for my chicken salad. The longest time that's what I would cook up. I always had I would chicken breasts, boneless chicken breasts that I would basically slice up and batter and fry, and make my own fried chicken a lot. I don't do that as much anymore. I always have burgers that I can make salt, pepper, throw it on the grill, have a bun, some onion. Anyway, it's interesting how our tastes change over time. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, I was so used to growing up, we would make chicken soup. And then once we had the chicken soup, any leftover chicken was made into tacos or enchiladas or anything else.
Oh, yeah.
Any of the broth was used in making rice. So instead of water, we would use the chicken broth for our rice. Well, then I was told 4 years ago, whatever it was, it's like, oh, you have the leftover carcass from a rotisserie chicken or whatever cooked chicken. It's like make chicken soup from that. And I'm like, what? So I did. I thought it was the weirdest thing because I was used to the other way. You make soup first and then everything else. This person was used to making everything else and then making soup with the leftover carcass. So I made chicken soup from the carcass, and I went, okay, this actually is not bad. So that is another thing. When I do get a rotisserie chicken, after I've torn it apart, I will make chicken soup from it. So it's interesting how the way we do things change over time, and our taste buds change over time. So it's kind of fun. It's amazing how a charcuterie can fill you up so quickly.
Yeah, I know. We had some on Saturday. Basically, when we were shopping, I said, let's pick up and that's part of what I was going to do tonight. I was going to do the charcuterie that we had. We had crackers, we had some pate, we had 2 different goat cheeses onto it. And then Tim found it. He actually got it when we went by down the chip row, and I had to get what we call Cheese Whiz. Don't judge me. It's good stuff.
Do you squirt it into your mouth?
Nope. You got to put it on. You got to put it on a cracker. Put on a cracker, maybe paste it in. All right, add a salami piece of meat to it. Make a little mini sandwich with it. Yeah. Why I like Cheese Whiz? Can I tell you why I like Cheese Whiz? I grew up in Philadelphia. I was
gonna say, does it take you back to your childhood?
It does. Actually, I've been watching an awful lot of videos and stuff from Pennsylvania this week, because my childhood DJ passed away last Wednesday, and so I got caught up in all the videos because I was going and liking all the videos from his memorial, and which got me tied into an awful lot of Philly different people in my For Yous. And one of the videos I came across was the son of the son of the son who now has Pat's cheesesteak. And he showed that as he's making the cheesesteak, one of the things he says, and we put cheese with, they have a container of cheese with, he just pulls the ladle out Ladles look. I'm like, oh, that's why I like Cheese Whiz, because that's the Cheese Whiz was some of the best cheesesteaks growing up.
I don't remember tasting Cheese Whiz until I was probably in my 20s.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, oh, it's fine.
Well, you haven't gotten a real authentic cheesesteak from Philadelphia. In Philadelphia.
Right.
Most out of Philadelphia people who make it, they make that as an option. But a lot of people in Philadelphia, it's a Cheese Whiz mix they make, and they basically, it's sitting on a hot pot all day, and they just ladle it onto the cheesesteak, on the steak once it's cooked. Oh.
But are they using like real cheese, or are they using processed cheese?
It's a mixture, like we would have Cheese Whiz.
Okay. So
I mean, it is a process, but it's a process they make. A lot of good ones make it in house. They don't buy cans of Cheese Whiz and put it in there. They make it. It's a cheese. Like we would think, quesadillas and Tostitos. The average person in America, that's what they would think. No, I'm going to do quesadillas. So they would go buy a thing of cheese that says Tostitos. You know what I mean? No, these guys are taking cheese, and melting it down, and adds an air of mystery. Robert put in the comments.
True story.
Yeah. But truthfully, I mean, I because of what I grew up in and cheesesteaks, like I've not had, and I remember one time, several times. I went back one time, would have been 2006, that I went down with my brother Ken. Like I came in with him. We landed at the airport at the same time, and his wife from overseas, she'd never been there, so we went down to Pat's on South Street and got cheesesteaks. I went there once with Gwen, my wife, and truthfully, I'll tell you this. I like Pat's. There's two different styles. I like Pat's. You cross the streets and it's Geno's. And you want, before you go tasting anywhere else in the city, when you go to Philadelphia, go there on day one, taste Geno's or Pat's, and on day two, taste the other. And then go to other places in the city to look for them. Go taste those two first. Those are the two originators. Pat's was the originator of the idea of cheesesteak. The great-great-grandfather, the guy who owns it now. And Geno's was someone who worked for him who said, no, we need to do it with this way. And he came up with a different recipe to do it. And he started this competing, and they're literally there. They are diagonally from each other on a corner in Philadelphia. And it's okay, all right? The original idea came from Pat's. The Geno's way just doctors it a little, makes it taste different. But you have to have it on they have the original hoagie roll. All right, they call. It just goes down to lifestyle and what you like, guys. That's my experiences onto it, and I've been watching it. Cheese Whiz is why I brought that whole thing up. So as I finish it off with my Buffalo Trace.
Which did you like better? The original or the doctor?
Oh, I like Pat's better. That's my personal preference. I like Pat's better. So, in Dallas, there was a place called Fred's that did a fairly decent cheesesteak. And during the pandemic, I kind of quit going there. All right.
Did their quality go down, or was it just hard to get to?
Because during the pandemic, when they made things impossible for people to get, if you're the first person to make it impossible for me to get because you're going to follow some pandemic rules, I'm just not going to patronize your business anymore. I can get the meat and make my own cheesesteak at home.
Right.
Truthfully. Anyway.
Most of us just choose to go get it done so that we don't have to make it.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Good.
But I mean, let's because we're 40 minutes into this episode. there's a couple things that I know we started. This is how we started. Was we just brought stuff in that we were enjoying. I think we had food that day. I think we had sandwiches or something that day. That we had to pick off the menu that we had on that second day. But you and I were in the back corner tasting all of the whiskeys we had, right? Yep. And I think we basically went down and got paper cups, or we got cups from the water station, so that we could taste them and not be drinking out of each other's bottle, right? And I think it was probably about 6 or 7 tastes in that we said we should do a podcast about this.
Yeah, because I had been wanting to do a podcast, but I didn't have the tech option of it, you know, so like, because I thought that would be fun to do. And so we ended up meeting, I think it was 2 weeks later, and talking about it. I
actually saved the calendar up here today. The day we met and talked about it was, I'm looking here.
It was in August
23rd, 2001, where we met, and he said, "You guys should talk." On the 24th, we met, and we actually shared whiskeys on that day. Mm-hmm. Our first podcast, because we talked about it, and we were trying to schedule when to do it.
Yep.
Our first podcast was on. I'm going to find it now because I actually have it on the calendar.
I think it was November 8th, I think it was.
November 8th, 5:30 my time, PM. That would have been 5:30, 4:30, 3:30 your time.
Yeah. And the thing was that when we were talking about when we were going to get it started, we were trying to figure it out. We needed enough time to figure it out and when we were going to start. But part of the problem was November's when my busiest time of year is. Yeah. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is craziness. But my thought was also, if we don't get this started now and we push it until February, we'll find another reason and we'll end up not doing it.
Yeah.
So I was like, suck it up, Buttercup.
Our first episode was done at 5:30 p.m. my time.
Yep.
Our second episode went to 6:30 p.m. my time, which would have been 4:30 your time.
Yep.
So we moved it. And then we stuck with the 6:30 time frame for, it looks like, and in the beginning, by the way, so in the beginning, we didn't know what we were going to call this.
Yeah, and I had gone the website, Mr. T and Lady G, as Tim. And then, but we kept saying, I remember saying, it's like, well, you got to like what you drink. You got to like the way you drink. And then at one point, Tim saw, why don't we just use that?
Why don't we buy the domain name? And the domain name was available, likethewayyoudrink.com. And at first we were looking like the way you drink podcast. And I was like, I wanted to get just the name, Like the Way You Drink. And likethewayyoudrink.com was available. We called it the Lady G and Mr. T podcast. Mm-hmm. It looks like it would have been into 2022 before we would change the name to Like the Way You Drink.
Yeah, we went a good 6 months, I think, with it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's 6:30, and it would be.
Yeah, it was September 13th when we actually really got together. Because we had talked one time, but September 13th of 21 is when we did a Zoom, and then we said, okay, this is what,
this is what we're going to do.
And then we planned it out. Yeah. So September 13th, 2021.
I'm actually trying to find it on the calendar when we switched to the new time frame. And I want to say that was well into 2023 before we did it.
It probably was, and it was probably around this time of year because I'm like, I need a little bit more time. Yeah. 4:30 my time was just a little too early because I was working with clients.
Yeah.
So it was probably 23. I don't think it was 22.
It might have been almost to 2024 before we did it. And So, I mean, some of the memorable stuff that we've done then on the show is like we still documented what we did on the show. Uh, um, we come up with different ideas to on how we were going to do it, how we were going to taste. But we did. I know the one thing that we made early in the beginning is
November 6th of 23 is when we moved it to 5 p.m. my time, 7 p.m. your time.
okay.
Because the week before we were still at 4:30 my time, because I have the book for podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So it was November of 23.
November of 23. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And originally we talked about the idea what we were going to do, and I think I said I didn't want to be just another whiskey tasting podcast,
right?
Because there's like a whiskey and cigars, there's whiskey podcasts, there's I wanted to be something unique that was different, but yet was all inclusive, because it wasn't and I didn't want to be where we just got drunk on air. Remember that I said I didn't want to do that. And that's where we come up with the idea. We would have food and drink on every podcast. All right. And we've had people come to us and say, we just want to taste drink. Like, we have to have food to go with it. Remember that? Because we've had people come to us and say, so, and
we have told one person and they were like, oh, well, I just want to, and I'm like, well, then we don't need you. Yeah.
We don't need you. And it's funny is because now we're reaching out to people, and we're not asking for favors when we reach out. We're asking just to have you on the podcast. We'll buy the alcohol. Mm-hmm. All right. If you wish to give us the alcohol, that's up to you, but we don't ask for that. We will go to the store, we will buy it, or we will buy it from you and have you ship it to us.
Yeah.
Right. So right now we're reaching out to a new vodka company that's coming out, and we're trying to reach out to them. Because we want to taste it, and it's because of who's involved with the project is why, and I'm not going to say who yet. Right. There's a gentleman here in my area that has vodka in my area only, and because of the fact that he wants to do it, but he's iffy because we have to ship his vodka to you. Mm. So we're trying to work the details out on that, but like we're trying to get with these companies to do this. Because we want to be unique. And then, eventually we'll go into many of these places because you have your connection up there and I have a connection down here now that we can make our own brew.
Primarily California. You can't find it everywhere. I can't get it here. This is because of a friend that I have access to this one. And I mean, it was down to here. I mean, I had it on the podcast once and I could have finished it. And I was like, nope, I'm leaving a little bit, so this is a special one. It was delicious and special, and I love the bottle. I mean, it's just a gorgeous bottle.
Yeah.
So I'll keep the bottle even after, and I'm just like, I got to get down there.
Yeah. But like, I mean, there's a lot of things that we twisted and we tweaked on this. But we sat literally with like we did tonight. We just sat and showed different stuff and shared it. And that's what I wanted to share on the podcast. But let's talk about some things we haven't done as we start to look towards the future. All right. This weekend we had it here at home because Gwen was going away all week. And there's something I asked her to make that her and I used to have. And the last time we had it to eat was before we lived in this house. And we made it this weekend. They're called Reuben quesadillas.
Okay. It's kind of like corned beef inside the
corned beef, sauerkraut, Swiss cheese, little bit of like a Russian sauce, and then you put butter and you put them in a tortilla. You put butter on a tortilla and you cook them like a quesadilla, and then cut them up and eat them, right? And they are fabulous, right? But the thing we had to eat with it. As a snack was apples.
Oh, okay.
Apples, dipping them in just caramel, right? Oh. And that was like our side thing. And I thought, sometime we should do that on the show and have it with apple cider. I think maybe even a good. Well, we did it, but we did it with Oktoberfest beers, which I have tons of Oktoberfest beers here from the last episode.
Yeah.
So, which it goes well with beers, almost any beer. It goes very, very well with. As a matter of fact, I got a little taster thing for beers to do a beer flight.
Okay.
And Gwen, when we did that, she made a taster of beer flight for me to do it. So, yeah.
Well, maybe we'll do that before winter starts.
Yeah.
We have a whole month and a half to go, so we could throw it in there when it's still fall. Because for me, it's still fall, even though we could have it in winter.
We could, but and then I think we've done it several times. But we should do it again. Is just a chilly day.
Mm-hmm.
You got to put everything in the pot and let it start slow cooking in the morning. When we start the podcast at night, you pull the lid off that baby and stir it, and it's bringing that air to the house. And that's a conversation for a podcast that we have the whole day. And I think when we cook chili, all right, in my mind, that's a beer thing. You have it with beer.
Yeah.
So anyway. What else would you like to see us do on the show that you think we haven't done or haven't really? It's that we should do.
We haven't done like a split pea soup.
Oh, we haven't. I love split pea soup. What will we drink that? What will we drink with that?
I think that one we kind of need something earthy. I think a bourbon would go well with that. Maybe a spiced rum, possibly.
How about? Well, wait a minute. I'm going to go really right now. How about a really good dark beer?
Yeah.
With that,
the stout would be great.
Yeah, a good stout with that, like a good espresso stout. All right,
Yeah.
I think would take. All right, and you can do the pea soup. I like to have. You can do it with ham into it or without.
Oh,
or ham cubes.
Yeah,
Wait.
Oh yeah, ham hock in there. Mm.
Yeah, well, you put the ham hock in there, but I'm talking like the little ham cubes. I would dice them up, and sometimes you pour it over it. And yeah, anyway.
Yeah. So that would be something. I know that I want to bring some of the scotch that.
Oh yes, we have to do some of the scotches. Yeah. Hold on, I got a knock on my door. Should I see who it
is? So keep in mind, y'all. Keep in touch, because if you have some ideas of what you would like to see this fall and winter, we would love to hear it, because we always want new ideas. And the thing is that a lot of times we'll do the same thing but different, or we'll bring in a rum but with different food, or a scotch with different food, or a whiskey with different food, or a specific food with different drink, so we can play, we can do different things. There's so many options. And that's part of the fun.
We did come up with the next year's anniversary idea immediately.
Yep. As
next year for our anniversary, we're gonna repeat the original podcast, the original episode.
Yep. We're not gonna.
I don't think we're gonna have 52 foods like we did the first time.
No, we're not gonna.
I remember that night. It cost me over $80. Yeah.
Yeah, it was those first two, and then we started going, okay, how do we make this easier, especially for me, because I'm like working, and after that, then it's like I still got to finish more work. So
yeah, I think that was one of the hardest days we did, was the first episode, because we were like, what are we gonna do? We have to make a bang, And
yeah. It was fun. It was fun. So we'll recreate. We will recreate
some of the interesting ones that we have done over the years, though. The one we go back to every year is the shepherd's pie and Guinness.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we go back to that every year because that was a unique find for me. Having Craig on the show. Now, having Craig actually came on our 100th episode. Yeah. He came on and had bourbons with us. I think we've done an old fashioned, and we've done Bloody Marys to death, but we love them, and I'll do them again.
Right.
Anytime. Yeah. I'm trying to think what else we've done that was really, really unique and fun to remember. We've had a couple people we've had on as guests. Other than that is my friend Alex, who does whiskey weight loss. He came on and did a blind whiskey tasting with us.
That was fun.
With a gentleman from Mary's Mixers on with us. I remember that. That was a great episode.
I think it was on a couple times.
Yeah.
a couple times, and we had his mixers multiple times.
Yeah, I know we had his mixers quite a lot because I hardly ever used them unless we were going back on air with them. I remember that for the longest time. I didn't just use them at home. I did it, and I wish to God I had them because they were the best Bloody Mary mixers. And and down here in Texas, I can't get them. So
even here, it's been harder. I don't see them on the shelves as much anymore. And even it's like that one spot, it's usually empty. They'll have like something else, but not the Bloody Mary from Mary's mixer. So I'll keep an eye out. If I can grab another one, I'll send it your way.
Okay, cool.
So stay in touch, y'all, so that way we can share some more of our ideas of what we're pairing together.
So yeah, I mean, because we're just going to come up with different ideas. All right, we're going to keep working on this. I'd like to say that we're going to try to do something unique every time, but probably most of the time we're going to come up with an idea and we're probably going to go, okay, well, yeah, we haven't done this one in a while. Let's do it. We'll have fun doing it.
It's fun. So thank you all for being here. Remember, go to likethewayyoudrink.com and sign up for our Insiders Club. You know, as we start doing more events together, we want to keep you in mind, and you'll also have access to letting us know what you want to see on the air. So make sure, likethewayyoudrink.com, you must be 21 or over to join.
Yep. Now, hold on. Here's the neatest thing that we came up with over the years is we decided to do these commercials for us. So basically, I got these. Ready? Here we go.
Welcome to Insurance by Design, the expert in crafting tailored employee benefits packages, working with both your English and Spanish-speaking staff. Led by the acclaimed Gladys Boutwell, we're licensed to serve you in Oregon and Washington. Gladys brings a wealth of expertise with an MBA in international business and leadership, and is a certified insurance counselor. Honored for her contributions to Latino equity in Oregon, Gladys is also a best-selling author. Her book, Health Insurance Secrets Revealed, is revolutionizing how we understand insurance. With bilingual prowess, Gladys enhances communication, making insurance smoother and easier for all your employees.
Anything you want to add to that?
If you want to schedule an appointment, go to enrollnoworegon.com and we can start the conversation.
It's funny how I had those ready. I knew she was going to say that. Being the tech guy and all. All right, let's play this other one.
Is your website attracting the traffic and engagement it deserves? At SimpleEasyWebsites.com, we specialize in transforming ordinary websites into extraordinary experiences. Our experts know what it takes to make your online presence stand out and succeed. Gain valuable insights and tailored strategies with our professional website review. Don't let your website be just another page in the digital world. Visit SimpleEasyWebsites.com now and book your consultation today.
Yeah, you can just go to Simple Easy Websites. All right. The other thing I want to announce before we go is I decided after a big debate in my life that November 20th, I'm bringing back the Tim Gillette Show.
Okay, yay.
So Gladys, of course, you know Gladys is going to be a guest on the show, right? Come on,
We'll let you all know when that is.
Yeah, we're buddies now. All right, you know. I just, while we were sitting here, I thought of something else and I forgot it. Damn it, I hate that. But anyway.
When you get to be our age, that happens. We have to leave the room, come back into the room to try to remember what it was that we were in there for.
Yes. So anyway, Gladys, I want to say to you, in 161 episodes, I'm glad to have you as a partner, and I really appreciate everything we do together. And this is a great experiment, a great experiment that we're still experimenting with.
Absolutely. Love it.
So other than that, guys, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week. All right. We promise you we'll be back next week with something new, something different, something unique. I don't know, something fun. In the meantime, cheers, ladies and gentlemen.
Cheers, y'all.